From the window of the guest house, the warm lights of the main building glowed softly. It must be dinner time, laughter carried on the breeze. I quietly turned to my easel and let my brush dance across the canvas. The spring light I had yet to see spread across the canvas. For me, painting was as natural as breathing. That hadn't changed in 10 years, and it still hasn't changed now. The snow in Chestnut Hill was the deepest it had been all winter. The garden hedges were outlined in white, and the path to the guest house had disappeared completely. The antique table lamp cast a soft light throughout the room. It was one of the old pieces of furniture inherited from my father's study when he was a university professor. Still, every evening at the same time, Mother brings my meals. The tray always reflects Margaret Collins' meticulous nature, warm food, fresh fruit, and the medicine she never forgets. However, we never see each other face to face. Mother places the tray at the doorway, knocks 3 times, and leaves. This has been our ritual for 10 years. "Elizabeth, dinner's ready." Mother's voice comes through the door. The old tenderness is gone, replaced by an obligatory tone. I answer with a simple "thank you." That's the extent of our conversation. I hear Mother's footsteps fade away. Her designer boots make a distinctive sound on the frozen path. Tonight it's beef stew. The Collins family recipe. My sister Rachel's favorite. On the edge of the white bone china, there's a faint trace of Mother's lipstick. She must have tasted it to check the seasoning. In the main house, Father is surely reading his newspaper. Sitting in his leather armchair, with a glass of the finest single malt at hand. The arts section of the Boston Globe probably features another article about my sister. The rise of next-generation artist Rachel Collins, I can imagine such a headline. In the world of contemporary art, my sister's name has become universally recognized. Father and Mother explain to the neighbors that they have an only child. At garden club tea parties, charity events, church gatherings. It's the simplest explanation. "Yes, Rachel is our pride and joy," Mother says. "A sister?" "No, Rachel is an only child," Father answers. To them, it's not even a lie. After all, I've been a ghost in their world since the arson incident 10 years ago. I still remember that night vividly. I stood in a daze, watching my studio burn. The flames mercilessly scorched my artwork and my face. The ambulance sirens, the fire hoses, the neighbors' whispers. Then the sterile white ceiling of the hospital. The doctor said, "The scars won't fade." My parents let slip their true feelings, "It's better that she stays hidden." And my sister took away my remaining sketches. I had the eye to see it, the voracious ambition lurking behind her superficial kindness. The night deepens. Outside the window, snow continues to fall. I continue working in my studio room. On the walls are clippings of my sister's works. Winter light, shadows of dawn, eternal spring, all with familiar compositions, color schemes, themes. All souls stolen from my sketchbook 10 years ago. The drawer of my desk is filled with evidence. Dated photographs, videos of the creative process, and my original sketches. Everything perfectly organized in chronological order. I set down my brush and turned my attention to the newspaper clippings. Next week, my sister will receive the National Arts Award. For work plagiarized from me. 10 years of silence will soon end. When that time comes, the castle of illusions my sister has built will crumble in an instant. The snow continues to fall quietly, whitening the guest house windows. The lights of the main house shine in the darkness, as if mocking me. I touch the scars on my face and smile faintly. The grand hall of the Boston Museum of Contemporary Art was filled with anticipation and tension. The nightscape of the seaport area cast its shimmer through the massive glass windows. The National Arts Awards ceremony, one of the most prestigious awards in the American art world. The venue was awash with the scent of designer perfumes and elegant dresses. Champagne glasses swayed with refined conversation. I sat in front of the television in my room. 10 minutes until the live broadcast begins. The news anchor speaks excitedly. Tonight, all eyes are on the Young Artist category. Rachel Collins' Winterlight series has cast new light on contemporary art. The camera pans across the venue. My parents appear on screen. Father is dressed in the latest Brooks Brothers suit, while mother smiles gracefully in a Burberry evening gown. Their proud expressions are evident even through the screen. They've been waiting for this moment to stand at the pinnacle of social society. Now, let's view a special video feature on Rachel Collins. The narration begins. Rachel Collins, raised in a quiet residential area of Boston, showed artistic talent from an early age. I watched the screen with cold eyes. The VTR shows scenes of my sister working in her studio. Large windows letting in white light, neatly arranged art supplies, and my sister working with an earnest expression. Everything perfectly staged. Her masterpiece Winterlight series expresses a poetic world of light and shadow, earning high praise from critics. The screen displays works that seem to capture my very soul, one after another. They are indeed beautiful. Because they were born from the soul of a true artist. The main ceremony begins. As various category awards are announced, the atmosphere in the venue gradually intensifies. Then finally, it's time for the Young Artist category announcement. And this year's Young Artist Award goes to Rachel Collins. Thunderous applause erupts. The camera captures mother covering her face with emotion. Father stands proudly, receiving congratulations from those around him. My sister walks gracefully to the stage. Her Alexander McQueen dress sparkles under the spotlights. Rachel receives the trophy and stands at the microphone. This prestigious award. Her voice trembles slightly. Perfect acting. I'd like to dedicate this to my sister who passed away 10 years ago. The venue falls silent. My sister, Elizabeth, was the foundation of my art and remains my eternal inspiration. Tears fall from Rachel's eyes. She taught me the beauty of art. Though she passed away in a tragic accident, her spirit lives on in my work. Camera flashes blink. The venue is enveloped in waves of emotion. My parents wipe away tears. It was brilliant staging. Rachel has always known how to capture people's hearts this way. She's mastered the art of perfect performance and manipulating people's emotions. Elizabeth. I wouldn't be here without you. I dedicate this award to you. I quietly picked up the remote and lowered the volume. I turned my attention to the envelope I had prepared in my desk drawer. Inside, my original sketches and photographs documenting the creative process were neatly arranged. All the evidence was perfectly ordered, with clear dates. "Well done, Rachel," I murmur to myself. Outside the window, snow continues to fall silently. As the excitement of the awards ceremony reaches its peak, I was beginning to prepare my next move. I open my draft emails and check the addresses of art critics. All preparations to reveal the truth are in place. "This will be your last lie." From the TV, my sister's speech continues. Audience members crying with emotion, critics offering words of praise, my parents' proud expressions. A perfect picture. However, this painting would soon be dramatically altered. I touch the scars on my face. The ugly marks in the mirror tell the story of 10 years of silence. But now, that silence was about to end. Tomorrow, all truth will be revealed. The dazzling world of Rachel Collins, darling of the art world, will collapse in an instant. And it will be time for the true artist to reclaim her light. The morning after the awards ceremony, Boston was filled with voices of celebration and praise. The Boston Globe's front page reports my sister's award. Genius artist's glorious achievement, audience moved to tears by emotional speech. I quietly read the newspaper while having breakfast. The meal tray mother delivered has more luxurious dishes than usual. As if celebrating the family's joyous occasion. Next to the toast is special organic jam from Whole Foods Market, and the aroma of freshly baked croissants from Baker's Best wafts through the air. However, this morning, there was no knock from Mother. They must be busy preparing for the celebration party in the main house. Breaking news: exhibition celebrating Rachel Collins' National Arts Award win to be held next week. From the television comes the excited voice of a news anchor. The screen shows preparation for the exhibition at the Institute of Contemporary Art. Staff members wearing white gloves carefully hang my sister's works on the walls. Replicas of my soul receive light in the new exhibition space. Social media was already buzzing with huge reactions. Art world figures were posting congratulatory messages one after another. The clock struck 10 a.m. I quietly opened my laptop and logged into an anonymous account. I began final checks of the posts I had prepared days ago. The first post would start with a simple statement of facts. Here's a comparison of Rachel Collins' award-winning Winterlight and Elizabeth Collins' unreleased work Dawn. The composition, color usage, themes, everything is strikingly similar. I press send. The post is quietly released into the ocean of the internet. Next post. Eternal Spring Series Original Concept. From Elizabeth Collins' sketchbook. Dated January 15, 2014. I attached carefully scanned images. Clear dates, my signature, and detailed production notes. All serve as irrefutable evidence. At 11 a.m., the first reactions began to appear. Art bloggers started sharing the posts. Is this real? The compositional similarities can't be coincidental. Someone should investigate this. At noon, my phone vibrates. A message from Mother. I'm preparing a special dinner for tonight's celebration party. I didn't reply. Instead, I prepared the third post. Elizabeth Collins' creation process video. Filmed February 2014. Shows works remarkably similar to current Rachel Collins pieces were already being created at this point. The post spread instantly. Art critics began mentioning the controversy. The first inquiry arrived from a gallery. They wanted to verify the authenticity of works scheduled for exhibition. Discussion on social media grew more heated. My parents' phones started ringing. Inquiries from reporters. From the guest house window, I could already see several news vans parked on the street. Slowly, the shadow of scandal was creeping into the quiet residential area of Chestnut Hill. Emergency press conference, Rachel Collins to address artwork controversy. The evening news announced my sister's upcoming press conference. Cameras showed reporters gathering in front of the Institute of Contemporary Art. Their expressions no longer showed yesterday's congratulatory mood. Rachel appeared at the press conference venue in perfect makeup and a designer suit. However, her usual graceful smile had changed to a somewhat rigid expression. I would like to address the allegations that were made yesterday. My sister's voice echoes through the microphone. Indeed, my work is strongly influenced by my late sister. However, this is a legitimate artistic homage to a sister I deeply admired. The layering of lies began. I quietly prepared the next post. More detailed evidence, clearer dates, more photographs. The truth could no longer be stopped. This is breaking information just received, an art blogger began posting. Elizabeth Collins production notes. The concepts, techniques, and even color schemes for each work perfectly match current Rachel Collins pieces. Night fell. The discussion on social media showed no signs of settling. Suspicion was turning into certainty. I stood by the window, gazing at the main house. Through the first-floor reception room windows, I could glimpse my parents and sister in heated discussion. Tomorrow's morning papers would surely carry different headlines. From Glory Award winner to controversial artist. The castle of illusions would have its makeup stripped away, layer by layer. I quietly closed my laptop. There was no need to wait for tomorrow morning. The truth had already begun to reveal itself. At the end of 10 years of silence, the soul of art was about to reclaim its rightful place. The lights in the main house stayed on until late into the night. The morning the decisive evidence was made public, Boston's art world fell into complete chaos. The art magazine website featured detailed footage documenting my creative process. In the videos filmed from January to March 2014, I worked diligently. They clearly showed the prototypes of what would become known as Rachel Collins' masterpieces. This is a shocking discovery, declared renowned art critic Michael Steinberg, his statement spreading through the media. The works in question are clearly Elizabeth Collins' creations. Moreover, she was reported to have died. This fact will have a massive impact on the contemporary art world. By 9 a.m., dozens of news vehicles had already gathered in front of the main house. The tranquility of the upscale residential area was broken by camera flashes and reporters' voices. Neighbors watched our house with curious eyes. Mother's Garden Club friends observed from a distance. Rachel Collins unreachable, studio remains locked, exhibition in doubt. News updates kept flowing. At 10 a.m., decisive evidence was added. Scanned images of newspaper articles from the 1990s. They showed photographs of young Rachel and me. Collins sisters win junior art competition. It became impossible to deny the existence of both sisters. At 11 a.m., an email arrived at Father's address from Boston College. In light of recent events, we are temporarily suspending your honorary professor status. Father's carefully built academic position began crumbling audibly. At noon, Mother's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Margaret, is this true? Did you all deceive us? There are calls for an explanation at the church committee. Mother's position as Queen of Social Society began to waver. The Institute of Contemporary Art issued an official statement. Rachel Collins' solo exhibition has been indefinitely postponed. All tickets will be fully refunded. My sister's brilliant career was reduced to ashes in an instant. At that moment, I had made my decision. It was time to step out of the guest house and into the outside world for the first time in 10 years. I carefully prepared myself. A black cashmere turtleneck, a fine wool coat. I wouldn't hide the scars. This was my true self, after all. I arranged my hair and applied a touch of lipstick. 10 years hadn't diminished my pride as an artist one bit. Breaking news. An announcer's excited voice flows from the television. Elizabeth Collins has agreed to an exclusive interview with Art magazine. The shocking fact that she, who was believed to have died 10 years ago, is actually alive. A luxury car came to pick me up. Arranged by Art magazine. The driver respectfully opened the door. I took a deep breath and slid into the car. The feel of the leather rear seat gave me a sense of reality. Elizabeth Collins' first public appearance in 10 years. Breaking news filled the large vision screens on the street. The car quietly headed toward downtown Boston. Arriving at the Art magazine headquarters, Editor-in-Chief Sarah Watson personally greeted me. In her eyes floated curiosity along with respect for an artist. The interview room was filled with subtle elegance. Warm lighting, soft sofas, modestly arranged flowers. Everything had been prepared for this historic interview. Shall we begin? Sarah said quietly. First, I'd like to ask about your work. About the true birth of the A Winter Light series. I smiled gently. It began on a winter's day in 2013. The time had finally come to tell the truth. The interview continued until late at night. I spoke quietly but surely about everything. The creative process, the feelings put into the works, and the reason for 10 years of silence. On the night of the arson, my sister took my production notes. I knew she would use them. But that's a desecration of art. True art is born from the soul. Questions came one after another. I answered carefully and honestly, facing the camera without hiding my scars. This was my true self, after all. When the interview ended late at night, Sarah quietly said, "This will have a significant impact on the contemporary art world." I nodded silently. Before getting into the car, I looked up at Boston's night view. The street lights illuminated the darkness, just like in Winter Light. When I returned to the main house, my parents were gone. My sister's room was empty. On the table lay a note. Words of apology written in trembling handwriting. Rachel had disappeared. I quietly returned to the guest house and stood before my easel. I made the first stroke on a new canvas. This was the beginning of a new work. The birth of genuine art, born under the light of truth. A year has passed since then. Boston spring seems to have arrived earlier than usual. While the streetscape of Chestnut Hill maintains its unchanging elegance, the atmosphere around the Collins house has definitely changed. My small solo exhibition is being held at a gallery on Newbury Street. Light and Shadow, Elizabeth Collins Solo Exhibition. The venue displays both my new works and original pieces from 10 years ago. Critics have noted their differences and continuity. After 10 years of silence, Elizabeth Collins' works possess an even deeper spirituality, notes Contemporary Art Review. Her new A Spring Light series depicts a clear, pure light that exists beyond suffering. A special space has been set aside in one corner of the exhibition hall. Named Origins, 2013 to 2014, this area chronologically displays the original works that my sister had plagiarized. However, this isn't meant as an accusation. Rather, it serves as a quiet testimony questioning the essence of art. Life in the main house has gradually changed too. I've moved out of the guest house and begun using the old study on the second floor as my new studio. Father spends his retirement helping Mother with her gardening. Though they've lost their position in society, they've regained time as a family instead. Elizabeth, the flowers are blooming. Mother's voice carries from the garden. The tulips she's carefully tended have bloomed beautifully again this year. Though she's lost her glamorous social status, Mother has found new joy in gardening. Father is organizing old photo albums. They contain photographs of Rachel and me from when we were young. Days spent drawing together, smiling faces when we won competitions, moments from family trips. The real memories were here all along, Father murmured quietly. We occasionally receive news from Rachel. She started a new life in a small town in Provence, France, under the name Maria White. She teaches at an art school for children. The attached photo showed her genuinely happy smile as she painted with the children. When I paint with my students, I feel like I've found my true self again, her letter read. Being in touch with the children's pure creativity has allowed me to paint with pure feelings again. On the final day of my exhibition, a package arrived. It bore a French postmark. Inside was a watercolor painting. A simple, warm painting of a Provençal flower field. The signature read, "To my sister, with love, M.W." Rachel's new style showed no trace of her former imitation, but rather breathed with honest sensitivity. Looking at that painting, I made a decision. I would add one final piece to conclude the exhibition. Titled Dear Sister, the work depicted two lights. One strong and brilliant, the other soft and warm. It was the story of two sisters who, though walking different paths, were both heading toward a new dawn. The exhibition hall lights quietly illuminate this work. Visitors often pause before it, seemingly contemplating the meaning of the two lights. Some critics asked if this was a symbol of reconciliation. But I knew this wasn't a work seeking answers. It was simply a prayer. A prayer for wounded souls to take flight again. For finding new light after lost time. And a prayer for sisters who had each regained their original radiance in their own places. Welcome home, Mother said gently at dusk. Spring flowers sway quietly in the garden. Would you like to join us for dinner tonight as a family? I nodded with a smile. The scars will never disappear. However, that pain was surely transforming into a new light. On the table sits Mother's homemade beef stew. made with the same recipe as before. But now, it's a meal prepared not for someone else's sake, but for those gathering in this place. Outside the window, a spring breeze blows gently, as if announcing the beginning of a new season.